Long way, get this shit a long way, hit the long way, long way, hit the long way, 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 shit, long way, long shit, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way. Gotta get this shit along, gotta get this shit. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get this shit along, gotta get this shit along. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slave. No, we gotta finish rich, no, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand, she don't understand. Niggas gotta get rich, she don't understand. Sometimes we gotta get lit, no, we ain't get lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get this shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up a entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, get the shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a pong way. My name is Atari, I ain't playing games, so I'm done talk. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. Said fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. Said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I want to get some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get this shit the long way, long way, we gon' get shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. We gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay for me, yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get this shit long way, we gon' get this shit the long way. We gon' get this shit the long way, yeah, yeah. We get shit the long way, yeah. Cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah. We gon' get the long way, yeah.
Hello, everyone. What's up, Omanike? Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. What's up, QJC? I'm your host and founder, LJ Young. I am not SMD. SMD is a family in which I started and founded, but it's a family of people that share my gift that I've shared with them. I understand that capitalism is psychological, positive, and negative. This is a mathematical fact. This is not an opinion. This is not whatever you may think. If it's mathematically true, that means it is true. And if you don't agree with mathematics, which nobody can have an opinion on math, nobody. But if you disagree with mathematics, that means you have a psychological problem. Hence, psychological capitalism, right? So with this knowledge, I now understand that currency is debt slaves, period. Gold, silver, paper, whatever. It's the debt slaves that live on the negative side of capitalism, and they don't know it. They don't know they live there. How do I know this? You're probably thinking, how do you know this, LJ? Because I was a debt slave that lived on the negative side of capitalism pretty much my entire adult life until my late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around there. Started waking up. I didn't wake up. I'm just said I started waking up. Found Dave Ramsey, got out of debt, got to zero. Once I got to zero, and I got to I always like to say it like this so you guys can understand, because Dave Ramsey is well known. Dave Ramsey pretty much says, take a calculator and his baby steps and get out of debt. And that's exactly what I did. I just followed the calculator, did his baby steps, got out of debt. But when it gets down to says, hey, when you get down to the mortgage, start putting away 15% into retirement. Well, according to my calculator said mortgage is debt. So you're not even close to zero yet. So you don't have 15% of put anything anywhere. At that moment in Dave Ramsey's plan, I figured it was business after that point, right? Because right there at that point, you can choose to follow his plan, which deviates from the calculator. That's called business. Nothing's wrong with it. There's nothing negative about what I'm saying, okay? It's just called business. Because I knew that I couldn't put 15% in anywhere because I had a mortgage, but I didn't have a particular mortgage at that time, but I'm trying to explain something to you guys. If I had a mortgage at the particular time, I knew I wouldn't have 15% to put anywhere. So I just went with going on paying off the mortgage because you can't put 15%. Once I realized that point, I was like, that's business. Okay, keep going. When I got to actual zero, which I had never been for my entire life. I had never been personally at zero, ever. And I'm not talking about credit score. I'm talking about within the credit report debt. Then and only then, I started realizing things were different. Long story short, at that point, I owned myself in the business of the United States of America. At that point, I owned myself. I didn't know that. At that point, I didn't know who to ask. What? Hey, wait a minute. Have you ever felt? Nope. I was the only one. Excuse me. At that point, I started learning more and more and more. And voila, here I am today. Now I understand what it is. Capitalism is psychological, positive, and negative. Now, let's move to the topic so you guys can understand. Lately, you guys kind of been hearing about people getting exposed and all this other stuff, and oh my God, I can't believe it. They took all this money and okay. Now, what you guys got to understand is this. Well, you can understand it, but I'm gonna explain it to you the best way I can. Okay. Scammers don't know the positive side of capitalism exists. Okay, they don't know that. So they don't know they're obviously scammers. They don't really understand that because what you guys don't understand is this. In order for a financial scam to work, everything they do must not make any mathematical sense. It can't. That's the purpose of a scam, is to steal money from you. So if they're trying to steal from you, anything they're telling you is not going to make any mathematical sense because they're stealing. But when you go back a step, since you guys don't know, like put it this way, since you guys don't know that since financial scammers don't know that there's a positive side to the capitalism, the only thing I have to do is just ask for their personal credit report. Your personal credit report will tell me how you've been treating the business of yourself. Now, if you're making all this money that you're claiming you're making, your personal credit report is going to reflect that. It's going to say, oh, yeah, this is true. He's really making this because he owns himself. He or she's not going to have debt and collections and this and that. And you guys got to realize this is why I show my personal credit report for everybody to see, because nobody else does it. I'm trying to show you guys something. So people that are mentioned in these latest scams, they're not, nothing is a shocker, you guys. You guys don't really understand. Nothing is a shocker because you don't know what to listen for to see if somebody's trying to scam you or not. If they're telling you, here, let's go all the way to the top, okay? So you guys really understand what I mean. Mortgages are for people that do not have money to buy houses. Okay? That's a mathematical fact. Okay? Mortgages are only for people that do not have the money to buy a house. That's why they're there. FHA mortgages are for people that really, really, really don't know mortgages don't buy houses. Mortgages buy people, not houses. FHA mortgages, that's like for people that really don't know. So if I'm hearing a person that's a so-called multi-millionaire person off of real estate, and I hear he or she talking about FHA mortgages, I know exactly who they're talking to. They're not talking to me. Because if they're mentioning to use FHA mortgages to get rich in real estate, they're talking to the people that don't know that. Now, if you hear them saying that, there's like, okay, that's wrong. That's not, because they're not talking to me. They're talking to the people that don't know, the people that believe they can own things with no money of their own. Now, let me make sure you guys are clear. If they're doing this all legally, okay, because I'm not saying just because they use FHA mortgages, it's a scam. I'm not. I'm just saying if they are using everything legally, who cares what they're doing? I don't care. It's not a scam. If they're paying, listen, if the people are getting their, if they're getting their product and this company is paying all their taxes properly, they're claiming all their money properly, they're telling the IRS and the government everything they're doing, that's called legal business. If you believe a legal business is a scam, that's your problem. Like here, let me give you an example. You know, like MLM companies, they're like barely hanging on by a thread to be legal, barely. But they're legal. It doesn't matter how I feel about an MLM. Is it legal? Yes. Then who cares? What you call it? Pyramid scheme. You know, people call it MLM a pyramid scheme. This is, when you go deep into it, and this is just my opinion, this is why, like when you join the MLM, this is why they force you to buy the product on a monthly basis that they're selling. Like, you have to buy the product that you're selling, but you got to buy it every single month, else you're not. That's, I think that's the connecting piece, making you buy the product, because if you don't buy the product, you can't participate. So you're pretty much forced to buy the product, and all that product just stacks up in your house. It just stacks up because that's the connection from keeping it, probably from being a Ponzi scheme. I don't know. That's how it looks to me. But if it's legal, again, if it's legal, I don't care what they do. Those people, like, I was watching Pocket Watching with JT, and he had a video clip of the dude from Social Proof talking to some guy that got named in some kind of scam claim or something. Now, let's go to the hosts. Let's talk about the hosts of shows that have these people on the show. Okay, because you guys don't see it for what it is. Now, there's one of two things are happening, okay? Either the host of the show doesn't own the show like you believe, and he or she is being told what to do, or the person that's on the show is paying the host. Because if somebody came on a show like me and they came on this show, right? And they say, hey, Lenny, I want to promote my financial blah, blah, blah. The first thing I'm going to ask is to see that person's personal credit report. All three of them. That's a requirement. That's the first question I'm going to ask, is to see their personal credit report. Why? Because it's going to show me how they treat the business of themselves. Because you better believe this. If they don't treat themselves great, which their personal credit report will show, they're not going to treat a business outside of themselves better than themselves. You see what I'm saying? Credit reports, what you guys don't understand is personal credit reports are really owner's ledgers. I just want to see if you're owned or not. See, first of all, see how you treat the business of yourself and see if you're owned. Because when you look at my credit report, it shows that I have no owners. I have 0 owners in there, 0. That's why I post it online so you guys can see it for what it is. So if I bring somebody on the show and he says, nah, you can't, he or she says, no, you can't see my personal credit report, you ain't coming on the show. So when the guy on social proof goes, hey, yeah, man, I got a 60% return on my money. I invested 100,000 and I got 60% of return on my money within a few months. I said, uh-oh. Okay, so you got to rewind. Okay, because you guys don't know there's a positive side to the economy. So you got to listen for what people say. So if this guy that he had on the show is allegedly a scammer, so did you really invest 100,000 and really turn around 60% in a few months? That doesn't make sense. Something's not making sense here. Were you paid to say that? You could, because you got to remember the host can just say anything they want. None of you guys, none of the people, none of the followers ask for proof. They say, hey, can you prove that with some financial paperwork or something? They just say it. And when you hear that doesn't, when things don't make sense, that means it's usually not true. Now, when you see, okay, he's got caught into a scam, dude on social proof talked about he got a 60% return on his money. So which one is it? Did you just say that? Or were you paid to say that? Were you paid? You gotta, his audience is not going to say, hey man, remember when you said this back there? We need you to prove that. Because if that was me, right, and that really happened to me, I would have some financial paperwork to prove it. But you got to also remember, when you see hosts with people on their shows like that, you mean to tell me you didn't vet this person that you was bringing on the show? You got to remember, you got to look at the host too. You can't just say, hey, this person just got on the show accidentally. You got to say to yourself, you mean the host didn't verify any of this woman or man's things that they're saying? That means they're probably paid to be on that show, because that makes no sense. You think you're going to get on a very, very popular finance? You think a person like that in a blue suit is going to get on a very, very respectable financial show without that person getting vetted? The first thing they're going to do is run their credit report. That's what debt slaves, you guys don't even know. That's the first thing you go to. How do people treat the business of themselves? Those people that you guys see that think you're fooling you, they're only after you guys, debt slaves. They're not fooling people like me. None of what they say makes any mathematical sense. You know, you'll get these people on shows like this. Let me give you another example. Hey, you know what? You can get this and get your LLC and get you some business credit, and you can get 50,000, blah, 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 and this much money. You got to take a step back and say, hey, wait a minute. What about starting a business for that very purpose? A business. What about that part? They go straight into getting business credit. See, this is what you debt slaves, you guys don't even get. If you follow advice like that, you're obviously a debt slave, obviously. And then when you go get a business license, you follow with these rules of what they're saying. And as soon as you apply for some business credit, the first thing the bank is going to do is run your personal credit report. As soon as they see your personal credit report, they're going to know exactly what you're trying to do, debt slaves. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling any. When you see these people on the shows, they tell you that kind of stuff, you got to say, that's a debt slave. They keep talking about credit. What are they talking about? They're talking about create a business to go get some credit. What about create a business to create a business? Every time I see every time I watch a podcast or a show and I hear somebody on there talking about credit, you can build wealth by having student loan debt because student loan debt is low and this and that. Do you guys know you're talking to a person on the negative side of the economy, because you can't do any of that? If I get somebody's, put it this way, If I have somebody financially come trying to talk to me about money and finance and capitalism, and I turn to them and I say, let me see your personal credit report. Or I turn to them and say, do you have student loan debt? And they say, yes. And then I say, is your student loan debt your oldest debt? And they say, yes. That's a debt slave. Those guys that are talking like that, they're talking to people that that have student loan debt as their oldest debt they've been having for 20 years. That's debt slaves. The reason why you don't hear FHA and stuff like that and you don't know what that means is because you're in debt. That's why. You want to hear a mathematical fact? A mortgage can't buy a house. Did you know that? That's a mathematical fact. Mathematical fact. You notice how I said it out loud? Notice that? Yeah. Debt slaves can't hear me. I'll say it one more time. Mathematical fact. A mortgage can't buy a house. How many debt slaves do you think could hear that? None of them. Why? Because it's supposed to be that way. They're called the housing market. So when you go and you hook up with people like this telling you to do all this credit and you can buy stuff with no money, they're talking to debt slaves because I already know you can't buy anything with no money. They're just, listen, debt slaves. They're just taking advantage of what's already in place. You can't even save for retirement while having a mortgage. You can't even do that. Did you know that? You can't do that. But when you come to the positive side, listen, when you come to the positive side of the economy, you create a business that sells them retirement plans while having a mortgage. You come to the positive side, create a business, and sell them retirement plans while they have a mortgage. That's what you do. That's how you make money, because if you didn't, you wouldn't make money. It doesn't matter what they believe. It doesn't matter what debt slaves believe. It doesn't matter. You come and create it and build a business around it. I'm not against it. I don't care. Listen, I don't care if they don't know that, okay? I don't care about that. But if you want to be a realtor, you don't do that. But you sell houses with mortgages because that's called business, as long as you don't do it personally. These financial scammers okay, here's another thing they use, okay? Debt slaves, you guys believe money is a look. You think it's a car. You think it's some clothes. You think it's a Gucci name or something. Money doesn't have a look. It doesn't look like anything. And when you have money, you can make it look like anything you want. Here, let me give you an example. When you see Kanye on the street wearing stuff you've never seen before and with big boots, and you know it costs some crazy amount of money, and then you come up to him and he's acting irritated. Do you really believe he's really acting irritated by wearing the stuff he's wearing and he doesn't want to be bothered in public? Of course that's not true. Kanye has money. He knows how to dress and to not be seen. That's easy. That's not hard. Hey, leave me alone. But you got these big ass boots on that nobody's ever seen before. That's the same way with listen, you guys, okay? You're not going to hear this on any other channel on the internet. Do you understand me? The internet. Do you hear it in my voice? The internet. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. When you come to the positive side and you wait, listen, you guys with mortgages, you're going to be very, very upset at yourself when you find out it only takes one day to buy a house. You're going to be very mad at yourself. You're going to be like, what? Yep, it only takes one day to buy a house. What the hell are you talking about? They told me 30 years. Yeah, it's not 30 years. It's one day. You're going to be very mad at you. Hey, man, I got all this equity in my house. You can't have equity in a mortgage house. Who told you that? Your friends with equity in a mortgage house? Are your friends with equity in their mortgage house telling you that they have equity in their mortgage house? That's why you guys are friends. When I see those people on, why do you think there's so many credit fixers? Listen, you guys, listen slowly. Why do you think there's so many credit fixers out there? There's a million of them. Why do you think that is? Because it doesn't mean anything. That's why anybody can be one. They're not fixing nothing. You just think you need it to get anywhere financially when it's the opposite is true. It's the opposite. You know, to own it, you can't use credit to own anything. The only way to own it is cash. So when you come across these guys telling you gonna get rich, and if you just flip floppity this and that and do some hard loans, this and that, they're talking to debt slaves. All you guys are debt slaves, believing you guys can own property with no money. That is not true. There is a distinct difference between business debt and personal debt. Distinct. People that don't know that are usually debt slaves. I was just on my Facebook yesterday, right? This one dude always coming to, hey man, I'm a millionaire. I've been making millions and this and that. And you got to remember, you guys don't know there's a positive side to the economy, so you don't know how you talk. But when you understand there's a positive and negative side to the economy, you understand there's a difference between personal debt and business debt. Very distinct. We're on the line. He talking. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm on. We're going back and forth on my Facebook. I'm like, yeah, I'm only talking about personal debt. He starts talking about real estate and how he sells it and did this and flipped that house. And I said, hey, man, I keep telling you, I'm just talking about personal debt. It's all personal, man. That's how you do it. You got to mix it, then you tie it in with business. I'm like, you're a debt slave because you mixing the shit and you don't even know you're mixing it. That's how you know right away. When you hear debt slave start mixing business debt and personal debt like it's the same, that's how you know they're debt slave, because you don't do that. That's all you got to listen for. And so now when I this is why this is why people that want you to believe something, they love shoving stuff down your throat. Look at my house, look at my car, look at what I have. I had this at this age. I made a million. Why are you telling me all that? I'm not even asking for any of that information. None of it. They're giving it to me voluntarily. You know why? Because they don't have it. When I have millions of dollars in the bank, I'm not telling anybody nothing. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying anything to anybody. That's why I'm like, okay, let me just stop talking to you. You're a debt slave. And when I see people that start courses, because you guys have no idea how noisy the financial world is when you're in the negative side of the economy. Okay, it's on the positive side, it's quiet. On the negative side, it's so noisy you wouldn't believe it. Just like the pretend like you're one of the background people in the movie The Matrix, 1999. You're one of the many background people. And now imagine those people is noise. That's all noise. You guys are all in there talking. You guys have all your different perspectives of how the economy works and how it, and when there's only one perspective, and that's the mathematical one. That's it. But each of you guys have a different one, a different perspective of what's considered rich and wealthy and how much you need in the future to retire. You guys all think retirement's an age. You guys are just all caught up in all that nonsense. None of it's true. That's where the scammers come in. That's where they come in. They know you guys are lost. They just show you what they know you already want. You want a big house, you want a fancy car, you want luxury, you want to find man, you want to find woman, you want to go shop at Gucci. That's why they show that stuff to you guys, because they know that's what you want. And they say, hey, you want this? This is the way. This is real estate. You know, you got to own a piece of the American dream. Stop. You know, if you're renting, you're throwing away money, all that. They tell you everything you need to know, everything you want to hear and know. And then they say, this is how you do it if you pay for this course. What you guys don't know is that they're selling you information from the negative side of the economy, because you don't know. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. That's why they're selling that to you. If you don't know you can't buy a house with a mortgage, you really don't know you can't buy a house with an FHA mortgage. You really don't know. Those are the people they're looking for. Those are debt slaves. Okay. But listen, again, if what they're doing is legal, I don't care what they're doing. They're just not doing it to me. They're doing it to debt slaves. It's not really, you guys, it looks like the problem is this, okay? This is the problem. There's some people out there that know how to do it like that, but do it legally. Okay, they know how to do it legally. And then there's the guys and the women that come in there and just do it straight illegal. And now it's all lumped together now. Now everybody's a scammer. Everybody that does this is a scammer. And that's got to be a problem for a legal person in that field that really wants to help people do something with FHA mortgages, because it's nothing wrong with legally helping somebody do something with an FHA mortgage. I'm not saying, I'm just telling you who FHA mortgages are designed for. They're designed for debt slaves. People that believe they can buy houses with student loan debt older than the house. That's who FHA mortgages are for. It kills me when I see, they go to like the EYL. That's the first one, and the reason why EYL, you got to remember, EYL is the one getting picked on because they're the biggest. They're one of the biggest in this area or whatever. But I've watched them a couple times. I've seen a few of their guests. I already knew they wasn't for me, so I just stopped watching them because I know who their guests are. They're not fine. Those people are not, they don't know what they're talking about, because the majority of people of guests that come on that show, they tell you things that make absolutely no mathematical sense in the world. If you believe it, whose fault is that? Okay, if you believe that you can do something that's not mathematically true, whose fault is that? Is it really a scam? I don't know. Think about it. Think about how many people believe they are homeowners with a mortgage when that's not mathematically true. Now, listen, that's millions of people, millions. Is that a scam? Whose fault? Listen, whose fault is it if the person with the mortgage didn't just open up the calculator, put in their mortgage payment minus their mortgage balance, and hit equal? The calculator is clearly saying with that large negative number, you don't own nothing. Now, if you look at that large negative number, clear the calculator app and move on and still put it back in your pocket, and you still believe you're a homeowner, whose fault is that? Is the bank scamming you? The bank's not scamming nobody. Like when you're a debt slave, this is so crazy too. When you're a debt slave, you're taught, oh, the big bad bank is doing this, and the bank is evil, and they do this. And then when you get to the positive side, the bank is not doing anything evil to anybody. They're not doing anything to anybody. They didn't force me to finance my car for 84 months. They did not force me to do that. They did not force me to spend the money that they had on credit cards. They didn't force me to do any of that. I did that willingly. I signed up. Listen, I signed up for the credit cards. They didn't come to me. I signed up for them. Hey, it says right in the contract, hey, you borrowed this money, you got to pay it back with interest. Okay, I'll take it. So when you go to these podcasts, they're talking about, hey, get this credit and open a house and do the house hack and live in one side and have a renter on the other. That's all the program, debt slaves. That's a program. You guys all say that. That's how they get you in, thinking it's going to happen the way you're happening. But what you don't know is that you don't have no money to even buy the house. So you don't even know. You can't listen. You can't profit from a mortgage rental property. You can't do that. You think you're going to profit before the bank? The bank put up the money to get the property, and you believe you're going to profit before the bank. Only debt slaves believe that. If you just open up the calculator and put in your mortgage rental payment minus your mortgage rental balance and hit enter, look at that large negative number. You got like 7, 8, 9 years till you start profiting. That's what that large negative number says. That's how long you have to start profiting. All that money that you see, that large negative number, all of that has to be paid back to the bank first before you can start profiting. What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's up, Jesus? What's up? Just the man I was looking for. I've always asked you about EYL. Now I know for sure they aren't through. I've been known EYL as, and you guys got to remember, I'm not. Wait, hold on for a quick second. I got to get my charger. 1 second. I've always known EYL was. I'm not saying now. I don't want you guys thinking I'm jumping on the bandwagon of who's scamming who, because I don't really get into that nonsense. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But I just watched, like I said, I just watched a couple of their episodes, a couple of their guests, and I knew their target audience wasn't me. It's clearly debt slaves. Clearly. When you start hearing people talking about fast money and this and that, that's whatever, exactly what it is. The only difference between a Ponzi scheme and an MLM is that the MLM has product to sell. Correct. That is it. And the product they sell are to the members. So they're legally selling something to the actual members of the thing. That's where the people don't really understand what MLMs really make their money from. They make their money from the actual people in the thing. Because they make them buy the product they make the members buy the product to participate, and then once they start, you got to remember, and then once they start adding a whole bunch of people, now they're really, really locked in psychologically, right? So because if they let go now, guess where all those people go? Back to the tree for free. All those people keep paying. I mean, if you understand how it works, right, and it's legal, put it this way. MLM is okay, let's put it this way. Let me, so you guys can understand. I understand that there's a positive side to the economy. So if I wanted to be part of an MLM, I would make sure they understood that I know how an MLM truly makes its money. Okay, they would know right away. I would say, hey, I know how it works. Okay, and so I want to be in the part of the tree where I make money. I don't want to sell people. I don't want to get members. I don't want to do none of that. Because you got to remember, the majority of people that join MLMs have jobs. They know those people are going to come in. You think a person that's working 40 plus hours a week already, and then they're going to start doing some work into the MLM, they ain't even got time to sleep. So they know they're going to come on for a few months, get all pumped up from the big old rallies they have, selling out stadiums. Everybody's pumped up to do what? I don't know. Get them all pumped up. They stay on for a few months. That person falls off. The people below them stay on. Oh, like, cool, we moved up. And it just goes on and on and on. It's absolutely brilliant, honestly. And see how I'll show their credit reports. I bet no one will. You guys understand? I'm the only person on the internet that has ever shown their entire personal credit report. Me. Everybody knows that. What's up, Owen? I was watching a video from Clear Value Tax, and he said that the recent debt ceiling bill has a condition where the student loan pause will no longer continue past this final day. Oh, yeah, it's coming to an end. What you guys got to understand is this. That bomb got to be dropped at the right time. This is what you guys got to understand. The government's money comes first. Okay? Nobody overrides that money. Their money comes first. That means all the money that's being used, the debt slaves are spending this money right now on other bullshit. Whatever they have, they're spending it right now. You guys understand this? The debt slaves are spending the money. When the student loan payment starts, all of that stuff stops. All of it stops. So that date has to be that has to be dropped at the right time. You can't just start student loan payments at any time you want. You got to kind of like look at the economy. Okay, where are we at? Could we withstand a student loan payments beginning right now? Probably not right here. Let's wait. Let's wait a little further. I wonder how many people could have become debt free if they had taken advantage of the pause. Can you imagine? That's what debt slaves don't know. If this is you and you didn't pay your student loan debt during this pause, you know what you missed? You missed a gift that you will never, ever, ever, ever see again in your lifetime. No interest on your student loan debt for almost 3.5 years. You know why you'll never see this again? Do you see what it took to stop? Do you see what it took to pause student loan debt? The world had to stop. Did you hear me? The world had to stop in order for student loan debt interest to be paused. That's why anybody listening to this right now, guess what? You'll never see that happen again, ever. Shit, you can go, hey, listen, somebody do this. Who's a good history researcher? Go back in history since the day student loan started. See if at any point during history that the interest and payments stopped for 3.5 years. Somebody go look that up. I don't think you're going to find it. I really don't. I don't think you Google that, Google's going to be like, what the fuck you asking me for? I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that question. If Google could talk. Nobody has ever asked me that question. I can imagine Google, the engineers are probably like, hey, wait a minute. Push more power on that board. Nobody's ever asked that question. Has student loan debt has ever been paused in history? Nobody's ever asked that question. I know that. A mortgage buys the house for the bank, not the mortgages buy people, not houses. What's up, Jacquees? Andre, LJ, chill. Dangerous to tell debt slaves that their financial house that they've been showing off is the banks. See, this is the problem, Jacquees. You think they can hear me? See how you saying, LJ, chill? They can't hear me, Jacquees. That's what you got. The SMD family members, the young ones. You guys will come into this. You guys, as soon as you guys start, oh, this is how that works. when I say things out loud, hey, mortgages by people, not houses, you guys think the debt slaves can hear me. They can't hear me. They have no idea what that means or what I'm talking about. I guarantee you they think I'm crazy. Guarantee you. Uncle is selling paid off condo that he rents out to me in a prime location because he has an undercover debt. Oh, he was an undercover debt slave. Not even that. I have to move. It's funny to see. Oh man, Uncle is selling paid off condo that he rents out to me in prime. Oh, he's selling it. I thought you said, I could have swore you mentioned he was going to transfer it to you or something, or he's about to sell it. Damn. Oh, you know, in that type of situation, if you didn't have the money, but you could get it really, really cheap from your uncle, I would get a mortgage. I would. And this, now you guys know me. I'm not, but if you can get a paid off condo in a prime location for really, really cheap from your uncle and you don't have the money, I say go get a mortgage and get it. Okay? Go get a mortgage, get that condo, and then when you get it, pay it off and keep it. Say, whoa, Uncle, wait, whoa, okay. But hey, I'm your nephew. Can you give it to me a deal? You know what I'm saying? Let me get a mortgage. Sure does. And you know what's so crazy? This is why I want you guys to understand something, debt slaves. Since you guys don't know that there's a positive and negative side to the economy, it's not really difficult for the IRS to see you because you guys don't know that there's a positive side to the economy. So when you guys do things, like when you cheat taxes, or you try to, let's just say you try to rip off the government or cheat on your taxes, that means that the stuff that you send to the IRS is not going to make any mathematical sense. It can't make any sense because you're cheating. You understand? Since you're cheating, the math is not going to make sense, and there's no way for you to make it make sense. You can try, but even trying will be obvious because you don't know that there's a positive side. That the very, like, when you come to the positive side of the economy, you understand how the taxes work, and you know if you're cheating, you're really cheating yourself. Seeing so many YouTubers trying to gaslight people into buying their real estate courses. It's only 4 payments of $4.90. That's bananas. And you know, let me tell you why these scammers are so. You got to remember that the scammers also go according to what the economy is doing. Okay, you guys can't see that because you guys are in debt, right? So when the economy is getting bad, the scammers come out in force trying to show you a way to make a lot of money in a short amount of time. Because they know you're terrified right now because the economy, you're not making a lot of money. You're barely being able to pay your bills right now. And you need some fast money right now. And then here they come with the solution. Work at home in your spare time, 5 hours a day for a week, and you can make 100,000. And then you hear that, you be like, oh my God, that's all they got to do is convince you that their solution, their answer, their product is the solution. That's why they're out in force right now. If someone wants to become wealthy, they're trying to sell something. Yep. Shout out to 10 for half for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Where was I at here? Purchasing a house is the only good debt because it always appreciates in value. So I guess, Tony, we gotta define your word of purchasing. Are you talking about buying with a mortgage, or are you talking about buying with cash? Let's start there. Let's start right there. What's up, Sherigan? In theory, you are right, but in practice, houses do appreciate in value. Made $80K from buying and selling my house 5 years apart. All right, let's go through your answer here. So you say in theory, well, that's wrong right there. I'm just talking about in mathematically. That's what I'm talking about, okay? Houses do appreciate. Yes, that's true. A house does appreciate, correct, in value. Yes. Made 80K from buying and selling my house in 5 years. Okay. So the way you're describing it, you're saying that you bought it with a mortgage. So you didn't really make 80K. I know it looks like you made 80K, but you didn't. First of all, you didn't buy anything. You had a mortgage. Okay. So you used the bank's money to make money in 5 years. So second of all, it only takes 1 day to buy a house. One. So by you doing it in 5 years is not really it's not like the way you're thinking it is, okay? Because it only takes 1 day to buy a house. And if it took you 5 years, your profit is not what you think it is. Okay? My social media is filled with people in exotic locations. Yep. The crazy thing about that is most have non-STEM careers with families. The math ain't math, and it sure ain't. A lot of people out there pretending. This is what I strongly suggest you guys do. If you're down about your finances and money's not going well, stay off of social media. If you're in financial trouble, stay off of social media. For 2 reasons. Financial scammers are there to catch you right at that time. That's why they're there. Everybody else will put you in a depression because it'll seem like everybody else is doing good, but you, that's a trick. Stay off of social media. Turn your phone off. Yeah, I have a mortgage. I'm not paying rent to anyone. See, I already knew you had a mortgage, Tony. Now, what you should say to yourself, because let's break down this sentence. I'm gonna tell you things that you're saying that you don't know that you're saying. Okay. The reason why you believe you're better than a renter is because you don't understand you can't buy a house with a mortgage. So you're paying rent to the bank. You just don't know you are. You don't know that you're paying rent to the bank. That's why people with mortgages think they're better than, hey, at least I'm not throwing away my money on rent. That's what you think. That's why you're paying interest payments to the bank. You gotta, that's how you know people with mortgages that believe they're homeowners. Like, do this, Tony. Do this for me, okay? Not many people will do this, but do this. Open up your calculator app. Put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and then hit equal. Now, as you're looking at that large negative number on your calculator, tell me, imagine I'm standing right next to you and we're both looking at your calculator and we both see this large negative number. Tell me what part of that number says you're a homeowner? Where in your mind does this large, you got to think to yourself, what kind of house could I buy with the amount of money that I see on this calculator, this large negative number? Then why do I believe I own the house that I'm living in right now? I mean, you got to answer that. Like, say like I'm next to you. It's like, I want to know, I'm intrigued. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Whether you pay rent or mortgage, the bank still gets their money. Whether you pay rent, that is true. That's why people who buy houses in cash don't have to deal with any of that. You just take the money, you take 1 day, you buy the house, you own the house in 1 day. No rent, no mortgage at all, not even any kind of bank signing work involvement, none of that. So that is very true, Sherigan. Jacque says, my aunt is class of 2000, was on Facebook bragging about the house she financed at 52 with student loans over 20 years old. Yep, 20 years old. Imagine how many people out there. Now, this is millions, you guys. You guys got to remember, Student loan debt is in the trillions. So what does that mean? Millions of people have student loan debt. Now, how many of those millions of people have student loan debt older than their mortgage? Can you imagine? They all believe they're homeowners. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. They don't listen. They don't know people like us exist. They don't know that. They don't know we can see them. Like when they're showing off to each other, hey, look at my house, my cars, and this and that. And they're talking about, hey, yeah, I'm working 80 hours a week. So I know why you're working 80 hours a week, because all this stuff you think you own. When you own your house and your cars, you don't have to work 80 hours a week. You could probably work 20 hours a week. I'll sleep when I die. Sleep is for suckers. No, sleep is for your brain. Okay. I'm here to testify to you. Let me tell you something. The only way your brain, which runs everything, your brain runs everything. You can't do nothing without your brain. And the only way the brain has to heal itself. The brain has to heal itself. And the only way it can do it, guess what? You have to be asleep. You cannot be functioning at all for the brain to heal itself. And here are all these people telling you, oh, sleep is for suckers. Man, I work all these hours. I probably get 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Are you crazy? Is something wrong with you? And they say it like it's impressive. Man, I run off of 3 hours. Who are you supposed to be impressed with that? Debt slaves? You ain't talking to me. If somebody told me that, man, I'm running off of 3 hours sleep, you need to start doing something else then, my buddy. You're messing your brain up. Can you imagine the brain? Years and years and years of little sleep. What happens to the brain? Oh, man. I love my sleep. Love it. I agree. It should not take 30 years. Dave Ramsey recommends 15 years. You know what's so crazy, Sherrigan? If debt slaves only knew what you guys say, somebody recommends you pay 15 years of your life for one house. Who cares if Dave Ramsey recommends that? It only takes 1 day to buy a house. It don't take 15 years. Then you go and say, I agree, it shouldn't take 30. Why are you going up? I don't get it. I just said it only takes 1. Why are you going up? You know what's so crazy? And this is what's really bananas. A person that gets a 10 or 15-year mortgage, they will think they are better than the person that gets a 30-year mortgage. They'll think, oh, at least we're not dumb like them. What are you talking about? So you think it takes 10 years to buy a house when it only takes 1 day? Now, when I say this, you have to have a strong mind. Say like you've been in your house that you've refinanced 2 or 3 times, making payments the whole time you've been there, last 20 years. And then you hear a person on the mic come talking about, says, it only takes 1 day to buy a house. Now, I know if you've had a mortgage all this time, you got to be rattling your brain right now. It's like, what the hell is he talking about 1 day? I couldn't even imagine a person with a 20-year mortgage listen to what I'm saying right now. It only takes 1 day to buy a house. They're gonna be like, what? What do you mean it only takes 1 day? Yep, 1 day. 1 day, 1 day to buy a house. That equity, yeah, that's not yours. Like, if you have to, you think you own equity in a mortgage, right? Well, if it's your equity, why are you borrowing it? That's your equity. Like when you say like you had $20,000 in your savings account, Would you have to go to the bank and borrow, like say like you wanted 10,000 to cash, right? Would you have to go to the bank and borrow $10,000? You just go there and get it and take it. So if that's your equity, why are you borrowing it? If you're borrowing it, that's a sign that you don't own it because you're borrowing it. But that's how it works. That's business. Nothing's wrong. Hey, listen, nothing's wrong with the bank doing that. Let me tell you something. Okay, let me share something with you that when you don't pass this knowledge down to your children, stuff like this happens. Okay. Now I remember now that I understand how it all works, I'm gonna fill in the gap so you guys can understand, especially for you young adults. All right. So when I got married the first time, my ex-wife had she had a grandmother that was really good with her money. Now I'm at this particular time, I'm around 26, somewhere around there. 25, 26, 27, one of those ages, young adult, still a kid. You know, you think because I was getting closer to 30 and had a kid and had 3 boys, I thought I was something or whatever, right? Whatever I was thinking, right? Well, anyway, she was good with money. So what she did was she helped us get our first house. Now, I remember her doing some things she did to give us a really big down payment, but she was able to do it in a way, structure it in a way she could have it as a tax write-off because she gave us some money, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, now you gotta remember, I'm going back and forth. I didn't notice at the time, but I'm gonna figure she helped us put about 40% of the house down. Okay, 40% of the house price down. And then we got a mortgage. And then the mortgage was put in our name, me and my ex-wife's name. During that time, her credit or my credit wasn't good at all. The only reason why we got that house was obviously because of her grandmother. Now, her grandmother didn't teach us. Now, I'm thinking backwards. I wish she would have sat us down and kind of really explain the best way she could what she did for us. Because that move right there is a once in a lifetime thing. That doesn't happen. But as a young adult, I didn't know that. I knew she just had money and she just was able to do it. I didn't really understand what she did and the reason how she did it. I didn't know that. Okay. So we get the house, boom, we're in a beautiful house, beautiful upstairs, downstairs, big backyard. This is in Seattle. We're in there a few months. Guess who reaches out to us about equity in the house? The bank. The bank that financed the mortgage for us. So what you guys don't know is this. All the bank had to do was look at our credit reports. My credit report and her credit report, and they would clearly see that we don't understand how money works. Clearly. They could look at our checking accounts and see there is no way we ever had 40% down to put down on a mortgage. They could clearly see that. We barely had a few hundred living paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck. You don't have no savings. And then all of a sudden you come out of nowhere with 40% of the house down. Clearly you didn't do that. And clearly nobody showed you how to do it by looking at our credit report. So guess what they did? Hey, look, you can refinance the house and get this amount of money of equity out of your house. And guess what we did? We took it. So what they did was they got the 40% right back. By refinancing a house, they got the 40% right there. Now they're getting interest on it using the house. I was 40%, we were 40% into the house right off the jump. And we gave it right back to them. All they had to do was look at our credit reports, and they already knew we would have took that money by looking at our credit reports. That's exactly what we did. It wasn't hard. And listen, I don't blame the banks for doing that. I'm just trying to point out something to you. How it's not hard at all. They own the mortgage. Our bank accounts was at that particular bank. They knew everything about us. They knew we didn't have no money to 40% down. We live in paycheck to paycheck. Okay, somebody did it. All right. We're gonna get that money right back. Hey, look, you have equity in your house. We took that shit. What did we buy? Bullshit. That's called business. So that's how when you go on these channels and you listen, I don't care listen, I don't care who's talking to you about finances. If they're talking about your money, ask to see their personal credit report, not their credit score, their credit report. Hey, you making all these millions of dollars? Yeah, let me see your personal credit report. It'll tell me if it's true or not. Scammers can't lie about their personal credit report, people, because that's where they start. You think financial scammers are born financial scammers? No, somebody had to teach them the shit. And guess who financial scammers, who they always start with? They always start with themselves. Their personal credit report will tell you if they're a financial scammer. They don't have control over that. Okay? Scammers, financial scammers can fool you in many ways, but they can't change credit report records. Okay, they're not going in and erasing debt. They're not doing none of that. I promise you that. That's not happening. So they can't fool you there. So they have, if once they show you that tells you, I'm telling you, not if you want to know if a person's a scammer, 99% chance if you see their personal credit report, it will tell you if they're a financial scammer. You got a legal person. Say like you have somebody that has a reputable business. And they're in the game of finance. Hey, can we see your personal credit report? Well, I need to see if you own the business of yourself. Now, I'm not saying that a person that's legally helping you and they're in debt, they're a scammer. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that financial person is not, he's missing a piece of the puzzle. He or she is missing a piece of the puzzle. Why? Because they don't own themselves. And they don't know it. If they're talking, like, say like you have a financial person's giving you advice and they're telling you how they're investing and they're doing this and their money's doing that and the stock market, and they're talking to you about stocks, and then you find out they have a mortgage. You turn to them after they're done, you ask them, do you have a mortgage? And if they tell you yes, they don't know. Listen to me closely. It's 100% mathematically impossible to invest in anything while you have a mortgage. That's 100% impossible. But if they're telling you that they're doing it, that means they obviously don't know that. So you have a financial person that you're paying that does not know you cannot invest into the stock market while having a mortgage. Now, again, I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. I'm not saying that they're not helping you. I'm sharing something with you. They don't know that. If I was a financial person, somebody came to me, hey man, I'm looking to invest in cryptocurrency. Man, I got about $5,000 in here. How should I do it? I say, do you got student loan debt? And that person says, well, yeah. I say, how much you got? He'll say, he or she says, 50,000. I will open up the calculator. I'll put in 5,000, the 5,000 that they're talking about investing in cryptocurrency. And then I'll say 5,000 minus 50,000 equals negative 45,000. I'll tell that person, before you can invest in cryptocurrency, you got $45,000 of debt to pay off first. Therefore, you do not have $5,000 to invest in cryptocurrency. Shout out to Biz Talk with K, $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Hope you got my email. Hope it wasn't too long. What's up, Snuggles? Is that you? Are you a person that has gotten financial scammed? Because a lot of you know why financial scammers are so rampant? Because a lot of people don't report themselves getting scammed because they're embarrassed. They'll just eat it. They'll just eat it. Don't tell at all. That's why the financial scammers, listen, you guys, it doesn't matter what level the financial scammer goes. It doesn't matter. Math doesn't care at what level of a financial scammer is. If the math doesn't make sense, it's probably a scam. If you hear talking about owning things with no money, it's probably not a good idea because you can't own anything with no money. You can't do that. If you can get this money fast. That's a problem. That has nothing to do with math. 1 + 1 = 2. No matter how fast you say it or no matter how slow you say it, it's still going to equal 2. Okay? You better hurry up. You're getting old. Okay, you're implying that retirement is an age. It's not age has nothing to do with retirement. Nothing. Friend claims she invested $15,000 with her brother, a former professional athlete. 90 days later, her return is $100K. Yeah, right. All you got to do is when somebody says that, you say, "Let me see." Oh, you go just like this. Oh, wow, that is so cool. Let me see the paperwork. The majority of scammers, they know you guys are going to go by what they say. If they can press you with some good clothes, take a picture in front of a couple exotic cars or whatever, anything that looks like money to you guys, that any word that comes out of their mouth, you're going to believe it. That's what they're going to do. When you see people dressed like that, brand names, that's for people that believe money is a look. You know what? Let me tell you something. This is what I see when I see a person dressed up in Gucci and Prada. You know what I say? How long did it take Gucci to build their name up? How long did it take for them to build their name up and their product so good? First of all, to make people pay those type of prices for a shirt or a belt or a pair of pants. How long did that take? How long did it take to where they don't even have to run ads anymore because everybody that buys their products at the ridiculous price that they charge advertise for them? Can you imagine? To be able to build a customer base so good that you can charge ridiculous prices for your product. Not only will the debt slaves pay for it, they will advertise it for you for free and how much they paid for it. You go to Gucci, get a $700 belt, a debt slave will pull out the credit card, charge it, and finance it, of course. Go out of the store, get on social media and tell the whole world, look how much my Gucci belt, $700 Gucci belt I paid for. It's $700. I always think, damn, how long did it take Gucci to do that? Gucci can make 900 times the cost of what they need to make whatever they're making. They don't have to spend any money on advertising, none. If they can do an advertisement if they choose to. Everybody else does it for them. People don't really understand. It's like think about like Jordan shoes right now, okay? Now, when I think of Michael Jordan shoes, I think of the man that I used to watch play, blah blah blah. Well, you got to remember the younger generation. They don't really. They know who Michael Jordan is, but it's not Michael Jordan's name. It's almost like the football games too, the McMahon game or whatever. Madden, right? Oh, the Madden football. Pretty soon you just say Madden, and because you just call it a game, you're not really thinking about the person anymore. That's what Michael Jordans have turned into. They say the name, but they just associate it with the shoes now and not a person, which is exactly what you want. That's just. Hold on, I got to turn the AC on. So when you see a financial scammer in a car, in clothes and name brand, and this and that, you got to remember, those of us on the positive side, that kind of stuff says, hey, I want to be seen. So when I see stuff like that, I know they're not talking to me, because it's for people that believe money is a look. Money's not a look. Money doesn't look like anything. And people with money can make it look like anything. But back to what I'm saying, when I see people dressed like that on, say, like they're on a podcast and they're trying to sell you some course and some real estate, and I see them all gold and name brand, this and that, they're talking to the people that believe money is a look. Oh, I see what you're dressed in. Oh, I see you got the Fendi, this and that. How do you know all that stuff is not scripted? That's maybe they want to point that out so you guys can hear it and believe it more. You guys, the host, you guys always got to remember this. Just because you see a host on a show, it doesn't necessarily mean they are running the show. Some of those people can easily be secretly bought out, and they can say, hey, part of the terms. Because think about it, if somebody comes in and just buys the show, right? But part of the term says you can't tell anybody that we bought the show, that everybody's still gonna believe it's you, and in the background we're gonna really own it and blah blah blah. You guys wouldn't know anything. Because you guys start to believe some of these people that on these shows, they get to choose who comes on the show. They don't get to choose you can clearly see the shows that who's really in control of what show or not. You can clearly see that. Especially when let me tell you something, especially when it comes to the finance game, let me tell you something, man. When I see some of these people that come on these shows that's talking to you guys about money, those people are paying, or somebody's paying somebody, because none of it makes any sense. None of it. I'm like, why is this on this show? Why are they saying you can do that, but you can't really do that? Oh, it's whoever owns the show. They're saying, hey, you're going to put this person on because they're paying us $50,000. And don't always think the hosts of the show are really running the show. Okay, you can really tell, like, put it this way. When Kevin Samuels was alive, right? You can look at him and tell he was running his show. Do you understand? That's the difference. You can tell the people that are really running their own show. By the way, now I'm not talking about his content. I'm talking about how he handled his show. You can clearly see he was running things. And then you watch these other shows, they be bringing all these different people on here and say, oh, we've been cool all this long. Really? You've been friends with all these guys this long? Somehow I don't believe all that. It's about what to get you guys to believe. All you guys have to do is believe that you will get rich like them and buy their course. Man, when I see some of the price of these courses, it blows me away. It just blows my mind. Like $4,000 for a course? Now, let me make sure I'm clear on this. If the course is really worth the money, yes. I'm specifically talking about financial courses. If it doesn't make mathematical sense, it cannot make financial sense. It can't. So when you see these people, ooh, they're getting busted. I could go right now. Listen, I could go through any financial podcast channel, blah, 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 and tell you if the person's a scammer or not. I could tell you. It's not really difficult at all. Financial scammers target debt slaves. That's why they always use the IRS. Hey, we're the IRS. You haven't paid us this and that. That only scares people that haven't been paying their taxes. That's why they use that. That's why do you guys understand why they use the IRS as a tool to scam you? Because they know the majority of you guys that are delivering food and shit, you guys are not paying your taxes. So you guys are living on the edge, terrified, waiting for the IRS to contact you. Now, this has got to be, don't get me wrong, this has got to be definitely a problem. It is, I'm sure it is, a problem for the IRS, because what if they, the scammers send you a letter, hey, see, you got to pay us this much money, and then the real IRS is sending you some mail to say, hey, you have paid your taxes, and now you think the whole thing is a scam, and then you end up ignoring the letter from the real IRS. But that's why they use that. That's why they use the IRS to scare you, because you guys, listen, think about it. If you were paying your taxes the way you're supposed to, right? Everything is done the way you guys, you got a professional doing your taxes, okay? Every single year. And then a scammer calls you up and says, hey, we're the IRS. You owe us $500 or you're going to jail. You would just hang up on the person because you already know that your taxes are straight. Because I'm not saying that the scammers don't try me in emails and text messages and stuff like that, but I don't really pay attention to it because everything they send, I know it's a scam. It's easy to afford a $4,000 course if you got a loan by following what a $500 course taught you. Yes, they are. They're paying it with a credit card. All debt slaves pay with credit cards. Debt slaves can only use credit. Debt slaves only can use credit. Debt slaves are the currency. Debt slaves are the currency. But okay, let me try to go at a different level so you guys can really, really get it. When you understand that capitalism is psychological, positive, and negative, 99% of the first of all, a financial scammer could not fool you. Okay, let's make that clear. A financial scammer could not fool you. All you have to do is say, let me see your personal credit report. Okay? Financial scammers don't even know that, because they don't know. Nobody has ever, listen to my words. Nobody has ever asked to see the personal credit report of a financial scammer. Nobody. So if you do that, like say like you kind of have a hint at somebody that you think that might be trying to financially scam you, right? And you say, can I see your personal credit report? The first thing they're going to respond with is, oh, my credit score is this, man. I got a 700. I got an 800. You're going to say no. And I want you to think in your mind, when they say that, I want you to say to yourself, LJ said they would say that. They said they would. As soon as I asked to see their credit report, they tell me their credit score, like I asked for their credit score, but I didn't, right? I want you to remember saying that, okay? And then you're going to say, no, I'm not talking about your credit score. I'm talking about your entire credit report, all three of them. I want to see what's inside of it. You don't take financial advice from somebody you go in there and they got 20-year-old student loan debt. You don't take financial advice from a person that has 20-year-old student loan debt. What if you find out the person who prepares your taxes is behind on their taxes to the IRS and they're preparing yours? What if you found out you had a professional tax person who prepares your taxes, and then you find out they're behind on their taxes, on their credit report? You see that they owe the IRS some tax debt. Does that make sense to you? What if you're getting professional financial advice that you're paying for, and then you look on their credit report and see they owe back taxes? You think that don't mean anything? You think that means a lot? If you see somebody that owes back taxes, that means they don't understand how it works. Look, they got back taxes. That means they don't understand how it works. They owe back taxes. Put it this way: imagine you see somebody, or you hear one of your friends tell you that they owe some back taxes to the IRS, but then at the same time you see what kind of car they drive and they're making car payments. And this person you're paying for financial advice or to do something financial, probably doing your fucking business or something, and they owe back taxes and they're telling you what to do about your money. Are you crazy? There is no way in hell I would allow that. No. You guys don't even know that. You don't know. You just drop your taxes off. Oh, I've been with this person for 30 years and this and that, and they've been doing me. And they might hey, listen, they might be doing a wonderful job for you. They might be doing a wonderful job doing your taxes and your finances. But that has nothing to do with them owing back taxes. Nothing. You got to explain that. Why do you have a new car? Why are you making car payments? Why'd you upgrade your house? Why you got multiple credit cards and you owe back taxes? Why are you doing that? When you come to the positive side, you understand the purpose of taxes. Taxes help build wealth. If you owe back taxes, you obviously don't understand, and you're definitely not building wealth, because if you don't understand taxes, and I don't care what anybody you come across, let me tell you something. You cannot build wealth if you don't understand how taxes work. You cannot do that. That's impossible, at least here in the United States of America. These are things I'm telling you. Always go up to a person that looks like they have money and kind of start a conversation. I don't know how you do it, and see if they understand how taxes work. Just like, man, do you do your own taxes, or just to see how do you understand them well, or just kind of talk to them and see how they just sound. Oh man, I don't know nothing about that. Okay, then that means everything I'm seeing is an illusion. Because if somebody came up to me and said, hey, LJ, do you really understand how the tax system works? I'll be like, nope, no, I don't. But I have a professional who does, who's personally debt free. I have a professional person who's personally debt free. He has no debt and he understands how taxes work. So I have him do it. I don't have to know about taxes. All I have to do is find a professional tax person who is personally debt free, no debt, owns their house, no mortgage, and they're a professional tax person. I just hire that person. I don't have to say anything else. That tax person knows not to pretend that I'm do a write-off that really wasn't a business write-off, have a dinner that really wasn't a business dinner. They know I didn't take a flight down to a sunny place and try to write up. They know we're not going to be doing any of that. We're only going to be putting in the things that we did business, that was business related, that we can easily prove it if asked. Easily prove it. That type of tax person already knows that. That doesn't even have to be explained. Correct, Sherigan. It's 100% mathematically impossible for people in debt to save money on taxes. You can't do it. That's called phantom income. That's what that's called. Phantom income. It's only phantom to those in debt. Like, put it this way. Say like you're new to the channel and you're listening, and say like you make six figures, because I was in tech too. You make six figures. You're happy about it. Making 160, 170, 200. You're like, yeah, I'm killing it. But then you look at your tax bracket. You can do it now while we're online, while we're talking about it. Just go look at your tax bracket, see where you're at. Guess what? When you're in debt, you can't do nothing about it. You can't reduce it at all. You're stuck. So imagine this. Imagine you go look up your tax bracket, see where you're at. You can't change it. You're stuck. If you have a mortgage, you're definitely stuck. And then you add a couple car payments and a few credit cards and all that other stuff. Guess what? You cannot reduce your tax bracket. You are stuck. So not only are you paying a high interest rate for making that high amount of money, you can't change it. So you're there. So who knows how much your money's gone right there. So you're not really making a couple hundred. And then you talk about all the interest payments that you're making for everything in your life that's financed, all of that. Utilities and this and that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Because people that make six figures, 152, you guys like to show the world that you make six figures. You guys love it. Look at my house. Look at my car. You clearly see I make six figures. I'm driving a Lexus. Look where I live. Look in the neighborhood. Look at my yard. Oh, no, I don't do my own yard. I got a company that does my yard. I make too much money for that. No, you don't. Think about all the doctors, all the doctors, you guys, debt slaves, you guys always admire doctors because of how much money they make. They're the worst. Those debt slaves right there, they're like trapped. They don't even realize you get a doctor making $400,000. Say like you have a doctor making $400,000 a year. Can you imagine his tax? Can you imagine his tax bracket? And then that same doctor goes and finances $1 million house, $100,000, couple of $100,000 cars, credit cards. Guess what? They cannot reduce their tax bracket. And then you add $400,000 of student loan debt on top of that. They are trapped. Guess who owns them? The hospital. The hospital owns them. And guess what the hospital makes? Trillions of dollars. Hospitals make trillions of dollars. So a doctor's salary ain't shit. They are trapped in high tax brackets. The hospital owns them. They cannot reduce their tax bracket at all. They can't even do it because people in debt can't do that. And you guys think when these doctors come on talking about, oh, man, I invested in this and that, and I'm making all this money. And then at the end of the video, they talk about they got student loan. They got a different video talking about they have student loan debt that they haven't paid off. Now, the average person is going to look at the video, see the doctor. Oh, this doctor's smart. I better listen to the doctor. Doctors are smart. He's not so smart if he thinks he can invest while having student loan debt. You can't do that. Exactly. That's why I did a video on that dude. It's crazy. There's a whole bunch of doctors on YouTube. They get the views because you guys think for some reason them being doctors makes them smart with money. No, it doesn't. Go to somebody that's a doctor that you think have money. Say, hey, man, you still got your student loan debt? If they tell you yes, they're a debt slave who's a doctor. That's it. Don't be impressed. Put it this way. If you have a friend who's a doctor right now that lives like a doctor, and you know for a fact that they have student loan debt, everything you are seeing is a mathematical illusion. Everything you see is financed. The house, the cars, the vacation, that's what you can't see, because you cannot own, listen, you cannot own a house if you have student loan debt. You can't. So if they have student loan debt, you automatically know that they have a mortgage, automatically. That's the wonderful thing about being on the positive side of the economy. Taxes are your friend. Taxes are your friend. It's like, sometimes I always think about, if I sat down, like say like I set down $1 and change in front of you, okay? And let's say like the dollar was your paycheck, okay? And so we set the dollar and change down. I give you 70 cents. We took 30 and put it over the taxes, right? Right there, you're getting 70 of the dollar and they're getting 30. So that means you're getting more of the dollar than them. And then we take the next dollar, 70. Now you got what, $1.40? They got 60 cents. You have more money. How is taxes taken away from you if you're getting more money in the split? It's crazy how debt slaves think. Whose choice is it that let's go back to Dave Ramsey. And if Dave Ramsey says, hey, if you have a mortgage, start putting away 15% into retirement. Now, whose fault is it? Is it Dave Ramsey's fault if you don't trust the calculator? If he says something which is mathematically impossible, that which it is, you can't save for retirement when having a mortgage. You can't do that. But whose fault is it if you believe what Dave Ramsey says? And people just run with this 15%. You guys don't even stop and say, where'd 15% come from? Where'd that come from? 15% of what? See, you guys don't really stop to ask yourself, 15% of what? Because if people really listen to what his plan says, hey, pay off everything except the mortgage and start putting away 15% into retirement, all a person would have to do at that particular month, they paid off all the debt except the mortgage, opened up the calculator, put in their mortgage payment minus their mortgage balance, and see that large negative number and ask themselves, what 15%? Where's this 15% coming from, Mr. Ramsey? 15% of what? So you guys don't know to ask that question. 15% of what to put in to put what into retirement, so it can grow and so it can have this much over 50. Well, it doesn't matter what it will do once it's in there. You must have the money to put in there to do it, whatever it's going to do, and whatever that thing is that he's talking about. You have to have it first. But like I'm saying, I always have to come back to make you guys sure you guys ain't thinking I'm saying something negative about Mr. Ramsey. I knew when he says pay off everything except mortgage, put into retirement, I knew he was pitching a sale or something for his business, because that you can't do that. So if you believe it can, he's going to point you to one of his Vesta pros or somebody, something, and they're going to show you how they can break the laws of mathematics and charge you for it. But that's called business. I don't care. I chose not to do. I said, okay, well, no, Mr. Ramsey, I know you can't do that. I don't have 15% of anything to put anywhere. So I'm going to get off the Dave train right here. This is where I get off. Ding, ding. And that goes with any business. I don't really care. That's why. I mean, you can't like say like that. That's not a scam. Telling people they could do something when they mathematically can't. That's not really a scam. That's your fault if you believe it. So that's what. So when you come across a scammer, imagine that, but 20 times worse. $20 times worse. Make you believe you can get $100,000 in the next month. It's just flip this house and flip that. All the same program. They all have the same old program. They don't. People that do that, they don't know that they're running the same program. This is the pattern that I see on social media. Okay. Two couple trying to look like a power couple. They always let you see their cars. They let you know every single date night they have. This is how they do it. Here's where our kids go to school. Look how they're dressed. They always match. Hair always cut. They're in not just in regular sports. They're in the upgraded sports because we can afford to do that. Look how we're living. We show you guys every day how we're living. Look at these glasses. These glasses cost this. They're brat. You know how much these glasses are. These are so-and-so brand name, and they cost how much. They always still love to tell you how much they cost. When they made their first million, at what age. They love telling you all this stuff. That's just for what you guys to believe. Look how we're living. We're always vacationing. Yeah, we got tired, so we went to Bahamas, and took a week over there. And make sure you take a picture of us flying in first class. They got to see that because when you fly in first class, you can tell by the seat. So if they take the picture in it, they don't really have to mention first class because you know what first class look like as soon as you walk on the plane. As soon as you walk on the plane, look, we're in first class. Look at me and all the kids are in first class. So you guys can say, "Oh my God, you know how much it costs to take your whole family into first class?" That's for you guys. That's for show. So when they start pitching about flipping houses and doing all this other crazy nonsense, you guys will believe it. I had someone at work once talking to me about joining them on a business venture, and I knew that they were financing their cell phone. Stop it. I know. Right. Right away. You don't even have to. Nick and I always talk about this. We're getting to the point to where we don't even have to ask if a debt slave is a debt slave because of what you guys do and say. You guys put it this way, okay? So when you get on the positive side, look at it this way because you guys don't look at things like this. They'll jump on the news, okay? Listen, they'll jump on the news and say, they'll tell you how many people barely have $500 in their savings account, right? They'll say millions of people barely have $500 in their savings account. And then you'll see Apple come on and have a sale, and each one of their phones are like 700 up to 15, 16, 1700, and they sell out. So what does that tell you? People are financing phones. Millions of people finance phones, and you guys think it's normal to finance phones. Just think about it. Millions of you guys every single year believe it's okay to finance a brand new iPhone every year, Samsung, whatever. I'll make sure I'm not picking on any cell phone manufacturer. Any cell phone, you guys finance them all. It doesn't matter the make and model. You guys just finance Apple phones the most. That's it. And then second, you guys finance Android phones. Guess whose phones you guys are going to be financing next? Elon's. You guys are going to be financing Tesla phones next. Think about it this way so you guys can see it, okay? Now, when you go out and you go on the roads, you see Teslas everywhere, right? You see them everywhere. Every time you go out to an event, whose phones do you see in your hand? You see Apples the most, right? You see mostly Apples. Now, the most popular phone you're going to see, this is in the future, you watch, it's going to happen. Tesla phone. He's going to have the most cars on the road because of the cars now and the rideshare service, and he's going to have the best phones. He's going to have the number one phone in the country. How many people you think are going to go to a phone that they know they can use anywhere they're at? You could be in the middle of farmland, in the middle of the country, and you could pull out your Tesla phone and it's going to work. Who do you think people are going to? Tesla phone? What'd you say, Andre? I guess when you go out to eat, you have a cook. Oh, yeah, you have a cook. Look, we have a cook. Look. Oh, this is what they always do. Oh, man, I didn't feel like doing nothing today, so I had my boy come over there and throw us something together. Chef so-and-so. Oh, you guys are so full of shit. Oh, my God. But I understand it's business. If they show you these pictures and they're always smiling, they got the best family and the wife and the husband, they're just this power couple and they get along and everything's perfect. That's for you guys to believe. How many people turn on live when they're arguing with their wife or husband? Wait, hold up. Fuck you. Wait, turn on live for a second so the people can see it. How many people record themselves arguing? Nobody does that. I'm not talking about the people that try to set up it personal. Hey, I'm gonna record you and you fight. No, I'm talking about two people. Say like you're home fighting with your significant other, and you say, "Okay, wait a minute. Let me set up this camera because I wanted to record." Nobody does that. How many times you been in a room crying, man or woman? You're crying and you start taking pictures of yourself to post it on your Facebook. Never. So you got to look at when you understand how it works. Time becomes the most valuable commodity on earth. The time in your life. So when you see social media, all it is just a big judge fest. Whether you saying it or you're not saying it, you look at through Facebook and you're just judging. That's consciously or unconsciously. You're just doing it. Oh man, look, she got fat. That person got old. Oh my God, where they live? That rug is nasty. I mean, the shit. You guys have no idea, and that includes myself, because I have to catch myself sometimes. Then I have to close it out and get out of there because it's an unconscious thing. Mr. G, right? I ain't seen him in a minute. Or is that Sherigan? Mr. G Sherigan? Can you imagine, put it this way, can you imagine how many people, with all this financial scamming going on, can you imagine how many people probably want one of these podcasters to say, hey, let's go expose LJ? They probably come over there and say, oh, okay, wait a minute, he's not selling anything. What do you want me to expose him on? He's not selling no courses. He's not doing anything. Well, he's telling people that you can't buy a house with a mortgage and stuff like that. And there's a positive and negative side. Can you go and prove them wrong? They can't. You know what you're asking them to do if this is you? You're asking them to prove mathematics wrong, and nobody in the world can do that. Yes, we do. I can only imagine how many people just, oh, they come across me, especially on my Facebook, man. They just keep coming back. They don't even know why they keep coming back. Oh, LJ, that's wrong. Why use it? But you listen, if I'm cruising Facebook and I have a person on my page that I'm friends with saying many things that I don't agree with, I just say unfollow. I just say unfollow. I just unfollow them. But these people, because if you're following somebody and you're following them back, they're seeing your stuff and you're seeing their stuff. That's how you guys know you're following each other. Because if you're not seeing a person that you're friends with, right, you don't see their stuff no more because they're probably not following you no more. That's how it goes, right? But these people that disagree with me are obviously following me because they always comment on damn near every post I do about money. One dude was like, man, I got this. I made $1 million here. I'm like, why you keep telling me about your stuff? I'm not talking about that. I made $1 million at 27, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I got 2 houses, and they're gonna be worth this at 59. It's like, oh my God, you're running your whole damn resume to me? I don't care. You know, when I hear people do that, they start running their resume of how much money they got, and I think they're so used to they're so used to impressing debt slaves with that garbage. They don't know when to shut it off. They totally forget that everybody's not impressed by just what you say. Dudes right there, yeah, man, I got 2 mortgages. I bought this Range Rover in cash, and then since it's over 6,000 pounds, I get to write it off. I'm like, you didn't buy nothing. You just told me you got 2 mortgages, and you think you bought a Range Rover in cash? Come on, man. And then I get the tax write-off because of $6,000 over. Debt slaves don't get tax write-offs. I just want to go, dude, stop it. I know that stuff works on your page, which I never go to these people that come to my page. I never go to their page ever. They if they're talking, listen, if they're coming to my page disagreeing with mathematics, there is absolutely, I don't want to see anything on their page. What go over there and see what? Funny jokes, a lot of forwards, some things to do. Hey, have you seen this? Can you be amazed if you've seen that? It's like I don't want to see about any of that. They can't help it. I do. I let dead slaves tell on themselves. I'm like, damn, dude, you just kept trying to shove it. I mean, sending me pictures. Look at my car. Let me reiterate so you guys understand something. Not only did he tell me about the Range Rover, he sent me a picture of it, and then sent me a picture of a BMW in front of a house. It's like, I'm not asking for any of that. Why are you sending me this stuff? If you say you have it, I believe you. Okay, it doesn't. But I already know he also told me he had 2 mortgages. That means you don't own no BMW or a Range Rover. You don't own nothing. In his mind, he's like, well, if that's the case, then why are they there? How are they there? I don't know how they got there. The bank, maybe. The only way I can know how a car could show up at your house and you got no money to buy it, there's 2 things. You stole it or the bank got it for you. And I'm pretty sure the bank got it for him if he's taking pictures, giving it to me. It's like him saying, please believe me, I got money. Please look, believe me, look. God damn. I was like, geez. And he's another person that house flipping. Look at this property. I just got this for this and this and that and this and that. Every fucking video. And look at this and that, this and that. I'm like, if I'm making money like that, I ain't got time to be making all those videos. Let me just tell you that right now. If I'm doing business, like when I'm working, when I'm doing my other business, I ain't got time to be posting on social media. I don't. Taking pictures. Hey, look what I got. I'm gonna flip this and that. You don't listen. When somebody tells you this is that, they can tell you what they probably got the property for, right? But when they start predicting, oh, but I'm gonna be able to sell it for this and that, that's a prediction. Okay, none of that is true. Nobody knows that. Always in the future, too. Always. Debt slaves always talk with the future tense. When you go back to the financial scammers, listen, financial scammers always talk in the future tense. Always remember that. Whatever money you're going to get, what's going to happen is always in the future. It's never now. You pay them now. Your money comes in the future. What's up, Nick? Remember that. Financial scammers always talk in the future tense. Always. Because they have to. But your money comes to them now. You don't have to know about money. You don't have to know about taxes. What you do need to know is how to pick the people that do know about money and taxes. You asked, especially, I want to reiterate this, how this must be anybody involved in taxes, professional in your life, for you to hire somebody that understands, they must be personally debt free. Must be. That's a requirement. You get a tax lawyer, they must be personally debt free. That's a requirement. Anybody preparing your taxes, they must be personally debt free. That's a requirement. That's the same thing that goes for accounting. You got somebody doing your business taxes, you better find out if they're in debt or not. Now, remember, I'm not saying that if they are, that they're scamming you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they're missing something, a very big piece of the puzzle. They're missing it. If you're in the business of taxes, you most definitely should not be in personal debt. That should be a requirement. Accountants are number two. If you're an accountant and you're in personal debt, you're missing a whole big piece of the puzzle. Huge. You know, so crazy. You can have a professional accountant, a professional tax person. All they do is numbers. All they do is numbers. Every day. Listen, they have to use the laws of mathematics to work their business. They have to use it. But you can go to a professional like that uses numbers every single day. And they have a mortgage. You go up to a professional and they have a mortgage, say, hey, person, open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. Why do you see that large negative number? They'll look right at you and say, yeah. Why do you believe you're a homeowner when the calculator is clearly telling you that you are not? They won't have an answer for you. They probably will be stuck for a second. Some might start to give you a reason. Well, I take my money and put it over here, and then I earn this kind of interest and this and that. And some will run through that. But some might pause. Very few will. But there might be one, it might be one or two of them that might pause and say, yeah, why do I believe that when I know it's not mathematically true? Nobody. And if this is you, if you're a professional tax person or accountant, that's the psychological part you're missing. Figure out why you believe you're a home, why you believe you own a home with a mortgage when the calculator is clearly telling you that you do not. Why do I believe a mortgage can buy a house when I know that's not mathematically true? Why do I believe I bought a house with a mortgage when that's 100% mathematically impossible? Why do I believe that? That's the psychological part you're missing. You want to know how psychology works? Try to say psychology without using the P. Okay? Try to say psychology without using the P. That's how psychology works. I know people are scratching their head like, what? What are you talking about? Can anybody here say psychology without using the P in the beginning? Take off the P and try to say it without using the P. Can you do it? Try to say tsunami without pronouncing the T. Okay? I bet you can't do it. Got Deslays over there scratching their head. What? What are you talking about? How you say tsunami without the T? First they got to go, how you spell tsunami? How you spell psychology? Why is he saying with a P? I don't know. Go look it up. Why is that P there? I don't know. I know they can, Hunter. I know they can't hear me. I think it's just funny. It's hilarious man, you know what? I'm gonna be coming up with some good ass, because I'm figuring out, this is what I'm figuring out. I'm figuring out different ways to show the psychological and make it look funny, make it sound funny. Because the psychological can't be told. The psychological can only be shown mathematically. That's the only way to show the psychological. There is no other way. I put that on my Facebook the other day. It's like, yeah, try to say psychology without using the P. They were like, what? Oh, man. I remember when I was a kid, I used to always say that to myself. Why is that P there? I know it's like, I remember I used to do a lot of questioning when I was a kid, but nobody to ask. I'm like, if we're not pronouncing the P, why is it there? Nobody ever had an answer for me. Then I came across all the words with the silent letters. I'm like, then why is it there? Nowhere in the alphabet says T sounds like nothing sometimes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, T. Then you get to T and like, nowhere it says, but T sound is sometimes silent. Oh, man. It's just hilarious, man. But, you know, when you get to the positive side and you see the psychology of it all, you be like, wow, man. Millions. You think, when you see some of the amount of money these scammers be getting, I'll be like, they are so corny too. You guys will hear some of the money that they're scamming, right? You know, you hear all this money. It's like their scams are so fucking corny. They're just stupid. I'll see some of their scams or hear about what they're talking about. I have no idea how they fool people. I have no clue. I have no clue. I remember one time I saw, you got to remember, I saw, what's the name? God, what is that dude's name? He was on Fresh and Fit. And on the Fresh and Fit show, and this is in the early days, he told people not to pay off their student loan debt. Did you hear me? Hey, what you gonna pay it off for? If you pay it off, then what? It's still there, and it's not there. It's still listed. It's like the dumbest. And he had all his jewelry on, and all his rings on his fingers, and all this other stuff. It's like, who is that for? That's for debt slaves. Because debt slaves, you guys got to remember, scammers, they already know you don't want to pay off they already know 90% of you guys have already made it up in your mind that you're not going to pay off your student loan debt. They already know that. And if you just be honest with yourself, and if you're one of those people that have made up in your mind that you're never paying off your student loan debt, you are their target. You will forever believe freedom is the next deal or the next business you get to. You don't have to wait for a business to get free. You can start today. You can go out and get a job and start paying off your debt. You can start a business, take the proceeds of the business and pay off your personal debt. And here's the difference, so you guys can understand the difference between doing it with a job and doing it with a business. If you do it with a job, you're using your personal time to earn the money to pay off the debt. If you start a business, you're using your you're still using your time, but less of it because you're getting the money from multiple people. You're using their time to pay off the debt. You're using their money and time to pay off the debt. It's not just you. You're using your time to reach multiple customers, to use their time and money to pay off your debt. That's the difference between doing it with a job and doing it with a successful business. You don't go out, create a successful business, and then go out and finance a bigger house and better car and get more credit cards, go on more vacations and charge more stuff. No. You do your successful business, you take the proceeds from that business, and you pay off your personal debt. That's who it was. Bandman Kevo. Sure was. It was him. Also paying taxes. You're right. It's like when people they'll take out a second mortgage and then take that money and then put it down on a rental property. Say like the mortgage is $3,000, the renter's in there, he's paying $5,000 here, she's paying $5,000. You automatically think you're cash flowing $2,000. But all you really got is 3 mortgages, 2 on the first house and 1 on a rental property. You got 3 mortgages. And people that usually do it like that, they'll put the rental property in their own name, their personal name. And then get on social media and tell the world that they own 2 properties and one's cash flowing them $2,000 because they got a renter in there paying $5,000 and the rental mortgage is only $3,000. When they're actually not cash flowing nothing. The money doesn't even exist. They're in the negative. But they think they're cash flowing positive, even though, guess what? This is how like taxes and interest created out of thin air. They'll profit the $10,000 from the renter. That goes as its gross income as business, right? So that money's taxed. As soon as they create a profit from that business, you tell the IRS, "Hey, I profited $2,000." Well, they said that's going to be a business tax. And then you got to pay interest. You got to pay the loan back. You got to pay the business loan out of that money too. You got to pay taxes out of that money and interest out of that money. So it's not really $2,000 after they take their cut out of it from that side. But since the debt slave thinks they're profiting, they take the $2,000 and take it over from the business to the personal side. Then it get taxed again as personal income again. Now remember, the $2,000 that they took from the business is not really $2,000. So they have to take a little bit more than $2,000 to make up for the cut that the IRS and the bank take. So they got to take a little more money to make up the full $2,000. Then they pull it down over to the personal side, and then they get taxed again as personal debt, as personal income. You know what? Honestly, Nick, I'm not going to get into I can't really get into that stuff, man. I know what Bandman Kevo and people like, I know who their target audience is. You could just look the way they dressed. Who's their target audience? Debt slaves. If you believe anything those guys tell you about financing and all this other stuff, I guess you get what you get. Get taxed twice. Hey, listen, and Nick, they get taxed twice on money that doesn't even exist. The $2,000 don't even exist. They finance the rental property. That means they have no money to buy it. Okay, they financed the whole, because they had to take out a second to put the money down to get a third. So they have absolutely no money. The mortgage is $3,000. They charge the renter $5,000. They think they got a $2,000 profit. In reality, they don't. If they left the money in and did not pull it out, yes, $2,000 could go toward. It's not being pulled anywhere. $2,000 can go towards the principal of the business loan. It exists in that way, but it doesn't exist in cash. But instead, they pull it. Imaginary $2,000. So not only did they get business tax on imaginary $2,000 and interest, the IRS gonna get it again on the personal side. They're gonna get another tax on his personal income with the extra $2,000 on money that didn't even exist. Doesn't even exist. I remember I used to always hear that. Hey, they make money out of thin air. When you're a debt slave, you don't know what that means because you believe money is only physical. Hey, man, they make money out of thin air. That is true. That's what compound interest is. That's money out of thin air. They let you borrow some money at some interest rate. You don't pay it back the whole thing. They take their interest, add it to that, and then they compound it again. That's free money. What you guys don't understand is this. Financial scammers, they can lie to you, but they won't be able to lie to the IRS. They can't. You can't claim stolen money. It's like a double-edged sword, right? Because you see those people, all these scammers, and then and of course they can't claim stolen money because they got to explain where the money came from, but if they can't explain it, they can't claim it. And then when they get caught and busted for tax evasion for not claiming the stolen money that they couldn't claim. In other words, don't do the shit. They don't even get it, man. Like somebody could be financially scamming somebody for 5-6 years, making millions of dollars, right? But they're claiming every year that they made 100,000. Okay. Of course, they can't explain the millions of dollars because they're still in it. But then when they get busted, for lying on their tax report, their tax return, and they get charged with it. Can you imagine? You're like, well, what are you gonna say, Your Honor? I couldn't. Well, all that money was stolen, Your Honor, so I couldn't really claim it. You can't say that. You can't say that. But then you go to prison for tax evasion for not claiming stolen money. I always see that like on those drug shows that people get busted after, being a big kingpin, and they get charged for tax evasion and all this other stuff along with it. They made this much and then they're going to charge. Well, you can't claim it. Oh, Your Honor, they're claiming that I made $3 million in drug. I actually made $2 million. You can't say that. I love that quote. I remember seeing that quote, and I said I could make it more clear. All I did was just replace the words "it." He who understands compound interest earns positive compound interest. He who doesn't pays negative compound interest. Albert Einstein, he assumed that you guys knew what the words "it," what word was supposed to be going in there for the words "it." That's assumption. Because the average person that reads this, they're just going to think Albert Einstein's just talking about compound interest through the whole thing, which he is. He is talking about compound interest through the whole thing, but what kind of compound interest is he talking about? He kind of gives you a hint about earning it and paying it. That's a hint that he's actually talking about two different kinds of compounding interest. If you're earning it and you understand it, you earn it. Okay, the average person doesn't know, say, hey, wait a minute, why the difference? What's the difference? I don't get it. Positive and negative compound interest. It's crystal clear. When I read that, it's crystal clear. Oh, okay. That just came to me one day. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands compound interest earns positive compound interest. He who doesn't pays negative compound interest. And if you're new to the channel, let me give an example. Say like you have a car payment, okay? At let's say a 5% interest rate car payment. We're going to talk about you. The bank is earning the interest. You're paying the interest. So the interest is compounding positively for the bank and negatively for you because you're paying it. So if you have a car payment and you see that, understand this is you. The bank is earning the interest that you're paying. See? It's compound interest for both of you guys. It's compounding. But which way is it compounding for the person? Anybody with a car payment, you are on the tail end of this statement. The bank is on the beginning. The bank is earning the interest because you're paying it. What's up, Alonzo? Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. It's 2 hours, 20 minutes. Legs getting tired. I'm standing up doing this. Got a couple things to do. You guys have a wonderful evening. It's 5:12. I think. What time does Costco close today? I got to catch that before they close. Probably about 6, huh? Just a second. I got to look something up real quick here. Yep, 6 o'clock. Oh, I got to hurry up. All right. I got to get out of here. You guys have a wonderful day. Later.